With another strange smile, Ito stood, nodded slightly, and left the room. Feels like he let it slide this time. Maybe he should just liked how Saito handled it. What? Yeah, Saito's had been respectful and, at least on the surface, forthcoming, but both of which likely pleased Ito, but... What do you mean about letting it slide? We shouldn't have let him see all of us together. I looked at him confused. Well, yeah, shouldn't have let him see him. The only man missing was Sinan. It won't take Ito long to realize something's happened to him. Oh. Yeah, maybe the whole cast shouldn't have been together like this. Gossiping. Then, Ito had likely guessed at what had taken place, but decided not to press the issue. I was beginning to see what Kondo saw in him. There was certainly no doubt that he was clever and observant. Ah. I had looked up just in time to see Sinan shuffle through the door. His face was pale, but apart from that, he looked much like he always had. Sinan, are you sure you should be up and about? Sinan's only response was a small, sad smile. I'm only a little tired. A side effect of my new condition, I suppose. Those who have taken the drought often find that working during the daylight hours is especially taxing. In other words, it was working. Sinan was already transformed. I am no longer a human being. He smiled. Who cares what you are? You're alive! That's good enough for me. I could see the beginnings of tears well up in Kondo's eyes, but the rest of the men were more reserved. They were happy to see their friend alive, but what had his resurrection cost him? So, your arm's better, I'm guessing? I haven't fully recovered yet, so I would withhold any final judgment. But... He lifted his left arm, the arm that the day before had hung limp at his side, and flexed his hand. It seems to have been healed. At the very least, it is no longer a hindrance. It's an interesting kind of Lazarus potion kind of thing. Thank goodness. If he had gone through all of that just to find his arm still lame and useless... You can't go out in the sun though, right? Will you still be able to fight with us? Vampires! Vampire werewolves! If daylight drained one's energy, then living a normal life would be difficult enough, never mind fighting alongside a Shinsengumi. Best you simply say I died. His voice was calm, almost careless. From now on, I will serve in the Corps, to remind them, and us, that success is possible. What? Have you lost your mind? Do you know what you're saying? Of course I do. Do you, Nagakura? The Shogun had ordered us to keep this thing a secret. Nagakura felt silent. If I die, the Shogun's secret remains so. Leaving no room for argument, he continued. Besides, if the side effects can be managed or even removed, then what reason do we have not to use it? To a man, they were against his idea, though none of them said anything. Who would want to consign a friend to a life of secrecy lived in the shadows? We were given this task by the Shogun himself. Sinan's suggestion might not have been pleasant, but it was logical. The drug was dangerous, yes, but if it could be refined, the side effects removed, it would be a powerful tool. Very nice to be on the inside of all of this. Nobody having to step around words or anything. It's good to be on the inside. A powerful weapon. Metal Gear. I suppose this was our only choice. And with his word, it was decided. If this was our only choice, he could have at least talked to us about it. Sinan could have been a little more open about it, being like, hey, I've got to do this thing. I've got to. And then we could have all helped him out, and, it wouldn't be this big dramatic thing. Also, I wouldn't be on the inside of it, so, we'll take the good with the bad. This could have been better planned, could have been better organized. And if it was, I wouldn't be the loose end to all of this, so whatever. Well, this is what you asked for, Sinan. Make sure you don't screw it up. Not a vote of confidence, but Sinan simply responded with a smile. Good old Sinan. This means moving to a new location isn't something we can put off any longer. If we're gonna hide Sinan from Ito and his men, we need more space. This place won't cut it. Saito nodded. If we intended to begin research again, then a move is even more urgent. Sinan's fate decided, they turned to a discussion of where they might make their new headquarters. Had we organized this earlier, this would all have been done. Also, all of the cute boys would have left me, because I wouldn't really need to be going with them. But it's okay, I'm with them, so now they have to take me with them. Bahahaha. Whatever my status was, it did not extend to being included in that discussion. Living with the Shinsengumi for the past year had been quite an experience. Lately, I had felt that perhaps it wasn't so bad, and my life had become almost fun. I knew it! I so called that crux. That was going to be the linchpin point. I feel good about calling that a while ago. But the truth I couldn't escape was that I was only valuable to them because of my connection to my father, a truth they had made painfully clear to me. These men had lived with one another for years. My own time with them had mounted to little more than a drop in the bucket. They had no reason to treat me as anything more than a casual prisoner, or, at best, a serving girl. I don't like being a serving girl, though. I had reminded myself of the countless times, but it only seemed to deepen my sense of loneliness. And now it is June. So this has been a year and a half now, I believe. It had been 3 months since we'd moved the headquarters to Nishi Hongwanji. Interesting. Alright. There's a lot more room, but more room meant, well, further to walk. I'd walked through it nearly every day for several weeks, and I was finally beginning to learn my way around. Oh, that was easy. Went up without a fight. As I turned a corner near the back of the compound, I caught sight of someone sitting in the shadows. There you are, Sinan. Your food's ready. Oh, hello. Thank you. The snow had disappeared, the cherry blossoms had bloomed and fled, and now the swallows and the heat had come. Sinan and I exchanged a pair of smiles, and I held out my hands to let the breeze brush across them. It's really gotten warm lately. Yes, it has. Unfortunately, the heat and sunlight aren't particularly pleasant for me. Really? I hadn't thought the sun was particularly strong that day, but to Sinan, who had to hide in the shadows or stay indoors during the day, it must have seemed unbearable. That's why he's in the shadows. The night he'd changed, Sinan's hair had turned white, and in his eyes had been a thirst for blood. But he's okay now. Look at his hair. Totally not white. Them brown eyes. But to look at his peaceful smile now, it was hard to imagine that night had even been real. If someone had taken me aside and said it had all been a bad dream, I would have believed them. It hadn't been a dream though, and now Sinan spends his days avoiding being seen and hiding from the sunlight. A painful reminder to us all, the Shinsengumi's greatest secret. Here it is! For just a moment, the sun lit on Sinan's hair. I don't know if it was a trick of the light or simply my mind being foolish, but in that moment, his hair was a brilliant white. Whoops! Ha! Psych! Is something the matter? You look as though you've seen a ghost, which I hardly feel is polite. Oh, no, nothing at all. He looked perfectly normal now, of course. Surely I thought I must have simply imagined it. Even if I had, there was no denying that he was the same man who had gone mad with bloodlust. It was unnerving. Gotta protect yourself, Chizuru. Gotta keep yourself safe. Heisuke and I made our way through the crowded as usual streets of Kyoto at a brisk pace. What up, Heisuke? You know, I haven't got out and patrol with you in quite a while, Heisuke. Oh yeah, I guess not. Ito had me pretty busy. Shin and Sano didn't bug you while I was gone, did they? Nah, they were perfect gentlemen. I'm fine. I couldn't manage to suppress a short giggle. They look out for me when we're out on patrol, but I still haven't found any information about my father, though. Yeah, I stopped by your place in Ito after you told me where to find it, but, He couldn't seem to find the words he was looking for and instead just kicked out a clump of dirt in frustration. Oh, well, thank you for taking the time to look anyway. Heisuke looked up in time to see my face fall and gave me a good-natured pat on the shoulder. Come on, cheer up, who knows? He might just pop up someday. You're right, besides, you're all helping me look, so I've got to find him sooner or later. What about you? You haven't been back to Kyoto in a while. Well, I sort of feel like the town has changed, so have the people. Heisuke? The smile he'd put on to cheer me up moments ago was gone. Nostalgia and melancholy weren't like him. Huh? Heisuke's head jerked up a fraction of a degree, and he looked across the street. He stood up on his toes and waved. Hey, Soji! Find anything over there? Nah, everything's normal. Oki was out on patrol as well, although his route took him through a different part of the city than ours. He gave me a short nod of acknowledgement, then looked back towards Heisuke with a snicker. Well, normal for now at least. I'm sure things will pick up once the Shogun gets here. Shogun's coming to visit Kyoto? Yep, it's got Kondo all worked up too. If Shogun's visiting, there was a chance for the Shinsengumi to be noticed. Kondo's reaction to that that possibility was easy to imagine, I giggled. Oh yeah, I bet he is. That didn't seem like Heisuke. Had something happened that I didn't know about? I looked over to Okita, hoping that he might help, but... Oh, Okita, are you alright? His face was tight with pain and his coughing was getting worse. He glanced up, but his gaze swept past me and across the street. His eyes narrowed at something behind me, and I turned in time to see a Ronin stumble backwards. Aye, eyeballless. Goro. Whoa, what do you mean no? Ayo. Stop it, let go of me. We're patriots fighting every day to kick those damn foreigners out of our country. Least you can do is give us a little booze, or maybe even a little company. Across the street, a clump of men, just a clump of them, 3 or 4, were harassing a young girl. I didn't know what they were up to, but it didn't look pleasant. We have to help her. I felt Heisuke tense up next to me. I know, stay here, Chizuru. Before he could finish, a flash of blue cloth shot past us towards the dangerous knot of men. Clump, a knot, either way, 3 or 4 guys. Well, guess being a patriot doesn't mean what it used to be, if we've got men like you throwing it around. The usual crowds shuffled away from Okita, and the men as quickly as they could. None of us wanted to be nearby once words were put away and swords unsheathed. The Ronin's eyes found Okita's jacket, and the men stiffened. You're one of the Shinsengumi fellows, ain't ya? Ah, you must be the brains, so tell me, Chief, what's it gonna be? His lips curled back into a predatory smile as his hand fell to the haft of his sword. There was no mirth in that rictus grin, and the Ronin's face abruptly grew several shades paler. They were only somewhat deflated, however, not entirely punctured. The ringleader made one more attempt. God damn it, get out of here, you brown-nosing son of a bitch. Shut up, if you really want to live, maybe you should follow your own advice. The sight of 2 of the Shinsengumi's notorious blue jackets standing shoulder to shoulder was apparently enough of an argument for the Ronin. The last of the color drained from their faces, and they turned tail and ran. You aren't going to go after them? Arrest them? And charge them with which crime exactly? Didn't figure you for the iron fist sort. Fair enough. He was right, of course, they'd had crime on their minds, certainly, but they hadn't actually committed one. Iron fist? What are you so worked up about? Never mind, forget about it. My name is Kaoru Nagumo. Thank you for saving me. I watched as the girl gave Okita a quick bow. She was so refined, so ladylike, even dressed like a girl. I doubted I could ever be as elegant as her. I'd only just begun to feel sorta sorry for myself when suddenly I felt a hand on my arm. Whoa, Okita! Calm down, kid. Just come here and stand next to her. He shoved me next to the girl we'd just rescued, then stepped back to stroke his chin thoughtfully. Okita? I glanced nervously toward the girl and gave her my best attempt at a smile under the circumstances. The smile she gave me in return was beautiful, but there was something about it that seemed odd. Just as I thought, they looked just like each other. He seemed to be talking almost to himself, but as soon as the words left his mouth, I realized what had seemed odd to me. We looked like... No, it was more than that. We were too much alike. It was almost as if I was looking into a mirror, but a mirror with a will of its own and wearing much better clothes. The longer I looked at her, the more uncomfortable I felt. I shuddered. Really? I don't think they look alike at all. Thanks, Heisuke. Jeez. No, they're practically identical. Dress the kid up like a girl, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. The girl, Kaoru, was looking straight at me as if she hadn't heard a word Okita had said. I had to say something, but what? Perhaps she saw through my confusion, or perhaps it was something else. I wish to thank you properly, but I'm afraid you've caught me in the middle of an important errand which I must attend to. Please forgive my rudeness. She bowed quickly to Okita. I hope I'll be able to repay you soon, Okita, of the Shinsengumi. And with that, the girl who called herself Kaoru disappeared into the crowds of Kyoto, although the unease her presence had created in me remained. With a mischievous grin, Heisuke dug a playful elbow into Okita's ribs. Hey, hey, hey! Looks like she's got the hots for you, Soji. Oh, Heisuke, is that really what you think? You've got a long way to go before you're at Sano's level. What? Hey, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Their back and forth continued, but my mind was elsewhere. Last night's rain had left a number of puddles on the road, and when I looked into them, I saw this strange girl who looked just like me. Kaoru, huh? Aww. I think Chizuru found someone that she likes. Mysterious lady. Wind caught the surface of the puddle, sending a flurry of ripples across it. My face quirked into a small smile, but the face in the puddle didn't smile back. Come on, Chizuru, let's get moving. Alright, I'm coming. Wasting no more time on the puddle, I turned and ran toward Heisuke and Okita, already on their way back to the headquarters. That was adorable. I liked that exchange a lot.